Hey guys, Ryan here, and this is kind of my last official video for the Illustrator Basics class that I'm doing here on YouTube. And what we're going to do today is go over a final project. This project is taking together all of the things that we've worked on so far, and we're going to create a game. And basically the intent is you're not actually creating a new game, so don't have to worry about the math and the statistics of dice being rolled and stuff like that. Basically this is just going to be you design the pieces. I've got 4 options, and you'll design the pieces and put them in the template, and then you can take that to a laser printer, laser engraver, excuse me, and have that cut out on wood or acrylic, whichever you or whatever material that you have access to. I have this set up for a Trotec Rayjet 50, which is a 50-watt laser engraver. It has a bed of 12 inches tall by 18 inches wide. I'm going to show a picture of that here if I can find one on my computer, and that's the one that we have for the University of Idaho that I have access to for this class for my students. So if you don't have access to it, one like this, then you can sometimes find a laser cutting service somewhere online. You send them your files, and they will, for a price, obviously, they will cut out that that material and send it back to you in the mail. So let's get started. So in Illustrator, I'm just going to open the file, the folder that I have the templates in, and I'm going to open all 4 of them at once. I have a checkers template, a poker chips template, 4 in a row template, which is kind of like your Connect 4, a Tic Tac Toe template. And I'll just click open, and because they are all template files, they will open it as untitled documents, and that way you don't mess up the template file if you need to get back into it. So first let's look at this is the Tic Tac Toe, and I'll show you what I have here. I have 3 artboards, so 1, 2, 3. I kind of worked on the Tic Tac Toe as a big Tic Tac Toe board, and I guess you can't really see it very well here. I'll go to the outlines view and go to fit the artboard in the window. So I have this main board, and it has sort of a box that's going to be created, and that will just stick onto the bottom with some super glue or acrylic, or not acrylic, acetone, whichever you'd prefer to use, or any other adhesive that will work with acrylic. Or if you happen to be making it out of wood, then obviously you could use epoxy or wood glue, or whatever you work with. The plan is designed for a 1/8 inch, or about a 0.117 or 118 kind of thickness material. So if you have a plexiglass, that's what it's going to be. Acrylic, rather, plexiglass, acrylic is the same thing. Or wood, go for an 1/8 inch. So you'll have these pieces that will glue together to make this bottom, or this main box, and then on the 3rd artboard you see this other bottom board, and that will make kind of the bottom of the box that you will hold all the pieces together in. Also, there are these mini game pieces and the main grid. So what you'll do is you will have all of these pieces cut out. Sorry, my stylus is kind of jittering today. And then this main grid has 9 squares, and that will be glued in place on top of the main board. Within each you see an X shape, and there's 5 of them, and 5 O shapes. So for example, if you want to do X's and O's for tic-tac-toe, which is the traditional way, that'd be fine. Otherwise, if you want to do 2 opposing shapes, like say sports team logos, you could design that and put each as a symbol inside, to fit within this shape, and then it will cut out. And as long as you're not touching the edges here, as long as it's within the shape and not touching the edge, you won't ruin the grid pattern. And then obviously make smaller versions for the mini game. And how the mini game works is, if you want to play the mini game, then you take the mini game grid and drop in each. There are 9 of them, so you'll drop each grid for the mini game in each of the squares of the larger grid, and then you play a game where whoever wins the tic-tac-toe on each square, each of those grids, will get the placement of the larger shape. So if you put a mini game in each one, X wins this corner, X will get the big, put down their bigger shape here. And it's kind of a way to extend tic-tac-toe from a shorter game to a little bit longer, more intense kind of game, and you've got to watch all 9 mini games and the big one at the same time. So there's that option. I'll show you a little bit more. Let's go back to preview mode from outline mode, and that's Control Y, Command Y. And you've got 2 layers. One is the cuts, and those are all in red, and you may not see them very well because my engraver, my laser engraver, as it's cutting, it needs those lines to be a 0.01 point. So 1/100th of a point size, so that it can accurately cut those and not interpret it as a engraving. It'll cut instead, and it has to be this red color. So let's go into the swatches. The red color is already set in the swatches on the files. I will include these files in the description below, so that even those folks who are on YouTube can download them, or for you students that I have, if you want to download them after the course is over, you'll have access to them as well. The red color is RGB red. All of these are RGB just because that's what my laser engraver, or the one that I'm using, needs to have. Red as 25500, and it needs to have black as 000 in RGB rather than the CMYK, just because of its the programming and how it's set up. Okay, so there are those settings. Don't change those. Don't change the colors, and make sure that if you're doing any engraving, that you'll use that black, and if you're doing any cutting, you'll use that red. So what you'll do on this is come up with your shape that you're going to use for your X. Oh, let's go back. I'm sorry. So that's the cuts layer. There's also this labels layer, which is a, if you double click, you'll see it's a template, so it's locked, it won't print, and it's dimmed to 50%. Okay, so when you are working with it, you can just turn that layer off, as long as you know that you need, for example, and that's where all the labels are. So you need to have the O shape fit within this square. If you need to, make a new square on the cuts layer and make it that same size. But then obviously you'll want to use the colors. So let's have no fill, and let's change the stroke to that red. And now I know if I turn off that red or that labels layer, that's the size. Of course, we need to change the stroke to a 0.01 point size, and now you see that right there. So I'll show you what you will do. You will create, so for example, if I want to make an O shape, oops, sorry about that, I will take that, escape out of the text, resize it so that it fits within this box, and then once I have the type, the size that I want it, turn it to outlines. So now I have an O that fits within that box, and the laser cutter will, I need to use this same effect as that one. So now I know that this is going to be, I'll zoom into it. Boy, you really can't see it on this screen. Go to outline mode. Here is my O as a shape. While you're working on it, if it helps you, keep it at a 1-point font so that you know that that's, you know, the shape that you're working with. And then when you're all done, change all of the red lines to that 0.01 if that makes it easier for you. And as you can see, it would make it easier so you can actually see what you're doing. But then you'll need you will need everywhere on the labels layer where there is a O or an X, you'll want to do the O shape or the X shape that you come up with. So again, if that's a logo, it's a cats and mice, it's you know, cats and dogs, whatever, a species of some fish, whatever you want to do as your shape for either the X or the O, go ahead and do that. There are some really cool ideas out there on the internet. Just search for Tic Tac Toe, custom Tic Tac Toe games, and you'll find some are made out of felt, some are laser cut, some there are a lot of different options for you to do. It's your game. Go do what you need to or what you want to with it. So that is the Tic Tac Toe. And again, so if you want to have the all of these smaller ones, once you have your shape that you want to use, then you'll simply go to your symbols panel and you'll drag that shape in, give it a name, and click OK. And now, as it is a symbol, we can turn back on the visibility of that labels layer, and we'll just copy that symbol everywhere that we see the O, and it will, as long as you have those positions taken care of, then you'll have sufficient of each of the O's, and you know, you'll go through all of these other minigame areas and put, or you can just count them and say, okay, there are you know, 6 whatever, you know, however many there are, and just make sure that they fit on the space where there's no other cuts. Okay, and then you'll do the same with the X's. So your X shape, and yeah, this is obviously not one that I would use because it's not very thick. it's probably too small for the engraver to cut in a good way. Convert to outlines, which is Command Shift 0 or O or Control Shift O, and then you'll take the eyedropper tool and get that same color. Why didn't it get it? There we go. Nope, still didn't. You thing. Okay, fine. No fill or red stroke. There we have it. And then you'll create that as an out or as a symbol, and we'll call it X Tic Tac. And you'll make copies for all of those. So everywhere there's an X on the labels layer is where you'll put the X for that size on the cuts layer. Oops, selected something different there. Okay, and you'll go through and fill up all of those for that. And then when you're done with the minigame versions, then of course, since it's a symbol, you can keep it the same just by holding down Shift. You can keep it the same aspect ratio and size it to fit the larger X shapes. And then do the same with the O's. And that way, you only have to create these two symbols, and then wherever those symbols are used, it'll be the exact same shape and symbol. Now, remember when you're all done that you will turn off the labels layer, the visibility of the labels layer, just so you can see everything. You'll select it all and change the stroke to that 0.01. And why didn't it? Oh, it didn't do it because we have the symbols, and so we'd have to edit the symbol individually. And there we have it. Now everything is sized to a 0.01 stroke where we're cutting with red, and that will work on the laser engraver. Make sure to save it, and then a couple of other things with the Tic Tac Toe game. You can change the how you want that game to be displayed on the side. So you can, choose a different font. You can, add some embellishments to that font. Do whatever you need to make that look how you want it to, and then put in the file or in the place here where it says your name here, change to your name. So in my case, that's my name. And then keep that in black, and again, this is for my students. Keep it in whatever color, and so in my case, and my students, black is the color for engraving, and the laser engraver will engrave that first, and then cut out the pieces with the other lines that are red. And then all you have to do is put it together, glue it, and you're good to go and start playing. So that's the Tic Tac Toe board, and I will close that and we'll go to the next one. Okay, this is very similar to the Tic Tac Toe. This is the 4 in a row board, And let's go again to outlines so we can see what we're looking at. We have this main board 1 and main board 2, and just if you're not familiar with the game 4 in a row, or as I can't remember which game publisher it is, it's commonly called Connect 4, and these are sideways right now, just so they fit on the page better. And you'll drop the checkers, the different colored checkers, and there's 2 colors, one for each team, each person playing, and you'll drop the color down and it'll stop at this point. And so you either stack up vertically, you can stack or make 4 in a row horizontally or diagonally, and so that's how you play the game. If you haven't played that, go do a search for Connect 4 or 4 in a row, or something like that, and you should find how to play that game fairly easily. So we have these 2 boards, and these boxes in here are going to be cut out so that we can put the supports together and the separators, and then these circles are cut out so that you can see through the board to see where the pieces have been played, and that way you can do it in wood or in an opaque color of acrylic if you happen to have that. And so this is the design. I have to give props to Bob Claggett from I Like to Make Stuff. Go check out his YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description. He's the one, I actually got his design, and it was awesome. It was a little too small, so I made it bigger, and I added some things to it. The supports and the separators I changed a little bit, simply because they worked a little bit better for my setup and what I was going for. So props to Bob. Go check out his channel. He's got a lot of fun stuff. But anyway, I got the plan. He had it available free on his website. Again, Bob Claggett, I Like to Make Stuff, is his YouTube channel. And all right, so enough of that. I also what I did is I put these separators, and these little tabs that stick out on the side of the separator are what stick into these squares in the main board 1 and 2, and so you'll glue those together at those tabs so that they'll hold the piece together. And before you glue them, obviously, together, you'll want to put all of the separators and both of this 2 side supports and the bottom support across the bottom here. The sides across the side supports, or the side supports across the sides, and then the separators between each row. So you can make your game that way. Once I have these cut out, I will show you how to do that. For anybody who's interested, I don't have this version, or I don't have these games cut out yet. Our laser engraver was in a process of being moved from one part of the facility to another, so I haven't had time to get over there. So I apologize for that, but I will do an update as soon as I can to show you what's going on here. So the supports and the separators, and then these side supports have these larger feet kind of things, so that you can stand the game up without it tipping over. Going back to Bob on I Like to Make Stuff, he builds 2 boxes that hold the pieces together, and they're held together by magnets. I thought that was pretty awesome. I decided instead that I would just have, when you're done with the game, just drop all the pieces in the slots, and then it'll stand on your desk, and you can display that as a, not as an actual game, but all the pieces are still there. So then when you're ready to play, you just dump them over, and then you can play. So a couple of things you'll want to make note. I intended this to be cut as 3 different colors, so you can use this first board and print this first page as one color, maybe a thicker color. The actual game, I believe, is yellow, the Connect 4 version, and these pieces are blue. But of course, you can do whatever you want. And this is for 1.4 inch checkers, and whatever that is in millimeters. I'm sorry. But here is the actual size, and so you'll need 42. Whoops, I have checkers here. I forgot to change this. I'll change this template before I post it. So the checkers, I know I'm calling them checkers, but the pieces, you'll need actually to make 21 of them. And again, I'll change that before I post this. So you'll have 21 of each design or each color. So if you want to do the same color and do it all on clear acrylic, I'd like to see what that would look like. I think I'm going to do that for my own demonstration when I put the game together here later this month. And that way you can see doing it with different colors or doing it as on different designs on clear acrylic. So it'll be this size, and you'll need 21 of each color or design. Again, the things that you'll customize, you can change the font and the size and embellishments on the name 4 in a row. And then you can also change the your name here portion so that it's created by you. Do as much customization as you'd like, and then print it out and show me what you end up with, because I'd really like to see this kind of take off. Let's go back to the layers. We have this bottom layer, the labels, and again, that is a template layer, so it won't print, and you won't see that as you are looking at the file. Back to preview mode, and we have the same colors, the red color that you see as our cuts, and that's also up in the swatches, so you don't have to go looking for it. Okay, I'm not going to save this one because I didn't do any real changes to it. I'll skip this one for now. This is the poker chips, and then this one is the checkers. So the checkerboard has the same 2 layers. The labels layer, which you can't see, the main board here, because the cuts layer is covering it. Again, these are anything that's black. So let's turn off that back layer. Anything that's black is going to be engraved on the printer or the laser engraver that I'm using. So this will all be engraved, and then anything that's red will be cut. So we've got, again, the same kind of setup that I had with the Tic Tac Toe. We've got the checkerboard on top, the box that you create with your name on the side, and then the bottom of the box. Let me turn that back on so you can see. The bottom board hooks to the bottom sides and creates the bottom of the box so that the checkers can all fit. And again, we've got 12 checkers of each color or design, and there's enough room on this other artboard to do that. And depending on your engraver or your laser cutting or CNC, you could even do it on CNC. Depending on how your setup is, you may want to separate the colors and just make another artboard with 12 if you want to have the same design on 2 different colors. And then that again goes with the Connect 4 or the Tic Tac Toe. You could do it that way. Or you could just do a different design on the same color. So if it's clear acrylic or black or whatever it might be, just have a different design and play your game that way, or design your game that way so that you can play it. So that is the checkers. Hopefully that's hopefully I've explained it enough. And then I again won't save this one. This is the poker chips version. So I have given you 35. We've got 5 different variations and 7 of each. These are, I can't remember what size, 2.3 inches. And again, sorry, I don't know what that is in millimeters. 58.424 millimeters in diameter. So that is the size, and these are all copies of the same blank chip symbol. So what you'll do is you'll come here and you will right click, break link to symbol, and then you'll design your $1 or €1 or £1 or 1 peso or whatever you're playing with, whatever your denomination is, your monetary value. So I've got, for example, $1, $5, $25, $100, and $500. Whatever you need for your game, if you're going to play poker or whatever version of poker or Texas Hold'em or whatever you might be playing. So I give you this option. Now, as you're looking at it, following along, you'll break the link to the symbol, you'll make your new symbol, and you will connect that or create that over here as a new symbol. And then what you can do once it's a new symbol is go to each one on the row and replace with your new symbol, and do that for each one of them, and you can select them as a group and change it there. It obviously doesn't look any different, but I'll show you what happens if we if we go ahead and change the, because I'm in outline mode. Excuse me. All of those have now changed to this red fill. So let's go back. Yes, we want to edit the symbol. Change that back to a red stroke, and then let's put just something simple in there, a star. And remember, when we're working with the engraver, at least in my case, we need to have black as our color that we're using, because the engraver looks at blacks and says I want to engrave that, and it looks at red and says I want to cut that. Okay, so that's why I'm doing that this way. Let's go with a interior stroke and make it nice and big, and then copy, whoops, excuse me, I want to paste in front and make another one and make that stroke a little smaller. But then also round those corners. Oops, I lost my stroke there. Okay, now it's back. Alright, so that's one example of something that you could do, and obviously there's one more thing I need to do. I need to add that $1 value. So I'm in the symbol now. I'm going to click and make $1. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just click and make $1? And so we'll put that right there in the center of the circle. You know, it might also be fun to make a, let's see, make a path right here and do text on the path. or type on a path. And copy and paste in front. And let's see, 72 is 1/5 of 360, so copy and paste in front. Whoops, excuse me, that didn't work. And so 72 and 72 is 144. And 72 and 144 is, what would that be? It's 136, I believe. No, 146, is that right? And there we go. So now each symbol has the $1 amount and the $1 around the outsides. So that is my poker chip for the $1. And then of course you just finish it out for 5, 25, 100, and 500. Whatever design that you're looking for. And again, the same as with the checkers and the Connect 4 and the Tic Tac Toe pieces. If you want them cut on separate colors, you can separate these into separate documents or separate artboards. By this point, you should know how to do that on this using Illustrator if you've been following along. And then you can print them out essentially on separate pieces of acrylic that are different color, and you should be able to have different colored poker chips if that's what you're looking for, or you could use the same color with different designs on them. That again is entirely up to you. Don't forget to save them so that you don't lose your work, and have fun with this project. It's games, and so it's meant to be fun. All right, thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed my course. If you have any comments or concerns or questions, please leave them either in the comments section for each video that you have a concern about, or send me a message in the discussion section of my channel, and I'll try to answer your questions and get back to you. So thank you for watching my course and participating, and I look forward to putting together some more videos for you. I'm going to produce an intermediate level course for Illustrator and an advanced, and as we work through that, I hope you follow along. So thank you very much. Bye bye now.